Gustafson Barlette with Times Union and TimesUnion.com. And welcome to 20 Things Plus, where each week we catch up with somebody previously featured on the Times Union's 20 Things You Don't Know About Me. And today we are joined by Vic Christopher, who is the owner and president of Clark Hospitality in Troy. Hi, Vic.
How are you?
So let's give it a go. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about two of your original 20 things, and you're going to give us a little update. Then we'll move on to 3 new things that people may not know about Vic Christopher. And at the end, we'll play a little game to guess who's going to be featured on Monday. So let's start with something kind of tame and tempered, which is you talked about how you had Sunday dinners with your grandmother. Is that still happening, and how's it going?
I'm going to see her Sunday. I just spoke to her. Look, she's 94 years old. She voted last week. The first president that she voted for was Eisenhower. She's born in 1926. And I told her about this interview, and she wanted me to tell you and everybody else that she still has all her brains in her. And so she's super sharp. She remains really one of my trusted advisors, and I'm very blessed in life to have very wonderful people. But my grandmother is a person that calls me every single day at 6 p.m. like clockwork. And we have an incredible relationship, and I tell her everything. And she also told me to tell you that she taught me how to cook. And she taught me all of her Sicilian recipes. And the best advice she ever gives me that I never take, she says, be a good Sicilian. You talk too much. That's your problem. And she's right. And basically I have no filter, and I'll just say whatever's on my mind. And I'm working on that. I'm working on correcting that.
Because you want to be the best. So you got to.
I'm trying to improve all the time. I really am. Like, I'm far from a perfect person, and I recognize that. And I'm working on things.
All right, now your next one. I found this really interesting. You said you used to be a janitor, which we all had those starter jobs that seemed a little different. What was it like to be a janitor, and what was the grossest thing you ever encountered?
I was a janitor for 7 years, from age 18 through like 25, 26. And for the Board of Education in Brooklyn. I was very depressed. I hated it. My main takeaway from the job as a janitor was, I'll never forget this moment. This little girl comes up to me, and she tugs on the back of my shirt, and she says, "Excuse me, we have a question for you." And I turn around, she's standing there with her friends, and she says, "We have a question for you. At what point did you realize that life had passed you by?" And I stopped. I was speechless, and I never forgot that feeling or that moment. And it was a motivator for me, because
it's like a question you would have asked somebody. That's the thing.
I mean, it was just a statement that floored me, and it stuck with me for the rest of my life. Another thing, my mother in Brooklyn, she was devastated when I moved up to Troy 16 years ago. But she would have been happy if I was a janitor. She just wanted me around. And she said to me, I said, "Mom, I hate this job as a janitor." And she said to me, "You're developing some skills that you're going to take with you for the rest of your life." And I hated that comment from my mom, but she was right. And now I'm a janitor for myself. And all I do is clean and fix things all day long.
And that helps us transition nicely into your first new thing. I know you said that 2020 has created all these unprecedented business opportunities for you, which is a really nice positive way to look at it, since obviously many businesses and people have been upended and are struggling. So how has this year been so good for you? Talk to us about that.
There's just more opportunity than ever before. There's more opportunity for financing than ever before. I mean, you know how hard it is to get capital? But if you have an existing business, there's economic disaster funds. There's been a ton of government programs available to people. And there's so many people that have just folded in business that you can literally do anything you want. And I'm seeing crazy businesses pop up now. I watch the pattern on all these things. I'm watching everything closely. I see what's out there. We're looking at opportunities. We were looking at an opportunity to expand to Albany. We look at all opportunities. Myself, Paula, and Zoe, we run Clark House Hospitality. We are looking to expand the company, and we're going to grow. And you're going to see right now, there's some companies that are just going to skyrocket, and we want to be one of them. Absolutely.
I know you just celebrated your 8th anniversary. Was it for Donna's?
No, the Lucas Confectionery. Yeah.
Right, Lucas, your 8th anniversary. So congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Sometimes it feels like 80 years. Sometimes it feels like 8 minutes. But every single day that I've been in business over there, I still get butterflies, and I love serving people and I love people and I'm such an extrovert and I hate being alone. You're like an introvert. You take the Myers-Briggs test. Have you done that?
Yes, I have.
INTJ.
Yes, I know. I don't remember my exact
Is that
results.
you?
I can tell you, I'm an outgoing introvert. I don't remember what the letter breakdown was with the chart, but yes.
You're the type of person you need time alone to recharge, right?
Always.
Okay. I'm the opposite.
I know.
I hate being alone. I hate it. I need people around me at all times.
I mean, I remember I've known you since your Valley Cats days when you wore the suspenders and you were out there on the field, and you've always been like that ever since I've known you. But the hate to be alone actually transitions us into your next one, which is you've had a little bit of a romantic relationship roller coaster the last several months.
Oh, don't make me cry right now. I met the love of my life and I blew it. All right. I told you the story last week. Look, it's unfortunate, but I still behave very immature at times. And, women have a way of changing all the time, but men, it's like we're just overgrown children. It's crazy. But I met the love of my life and I'm hoping we can work it out.
And you screwed up.
But until then, I'm happily single and I need maybe a little me time. I mean, I was like contemplating maybe marrying myself like Dennis Rodman did, because I can't seem to get along in relationships. They just don't work for me. Although I have a great relationship with my ex-wife, Heather. I talk to her every day and she's an incredible resource. Great person, one of my best friends in life. And she helps with the business still. She cares deeply about everything that we're doing. But, I got to get this part of my life figured out, my personal life. In business, I can figure anything out. There's nothing you can throw at me that I won't handle. There's literally anything I can handle in business that'll be worked out. But in my personal life, it's just like I'm having a tough time finding that rhythm, So I'm working on it.
There is a lot of ups and downs, but I know before this more recent relationship, you were with somebody for on and off for at least 3 years. So you have some ability to have success in that department.
Well, no, not really. I wouldn't call any of that success, really. Not at all. I really need to do some work on myself first, I think.
So what's your definition of relationship success?
Well, it's like I'm a serial relationship person, but I'm not good at relationships. You know what I mean? It's a conundrum.
And as part of the problem, you're not only a serial, but you're kind of working them at the same time?
Look, like I said earlier, I'm not a perfect person. I have a lot of work to do. And I think part of it is the career too. There's just like a lot of people around. There's a lot of distraction. And I'm just so fixated on everything else that it's just hard for me in relationships, like to be a good boyfriend at times,
Well, I will say I'm guessing that all your girlfriends at the very least would say that there's no shortage of fun when they're dating you. So
no, I know that's the problem is it's a roller coaster, like you said, and it's always fun. And I am an entertainer at heart. And I just really love to have a good time, but it's incessant. It's like 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Everyone around me is like just having a good time, and I'm just always like putting on a show, and it's a little exhausting, I think, for people.
I can imagine. So what about, is it exhausting for your friends too? Because I know your third update was that some of your friendships have changed drastically during COVID, or even over the course of the last year.
Have you seen this? Have you seen this with your friendships this year?
I actually think some of my friendships have gotten stronger, even though we don't see each other as much, but there's more ability to communicate and kind of bond and relate. But I can also see that you learn a lot about a person, especially if you have extremely different views throughout this whole entire thing.
Well, 2020, it was a lesson to everybody that the strength of the condition going into the year dictates the success of the outcome. And we've seen that in business, and we've seen that in our personal relationships. And I'm sure that there is a record number of divorces this year, but there's also probably people getting together at a very record number too. So this year was a test. 2020 was an incredible test, and it still is, and I don't believe it's over yet. And so you have to just look at 2020 as an exercise in strength and fortitude.
Is there anybody who, maybe you don't want to name names, but who surprised you of just being where your friendship grew or strengthened, or you just realized, wow, I always knew that we were tight, or he or she was loyal, but I really realized that during COVID?
I was just saying before this interview that Paula and Zoe with the company,
Right.
they're my partners now with the company. Coming into this, we had an executive team. The company was very top heavy. We had a lot of specialists doing a lot of different things. Those were the two that stuck around, and we've gotten really close, and they know what a screwed up person that I am, and they love me anyway. And that was really one of the great things to come out of 2020. And then Corey Nelson, who this week is opening the Cloud Food Hall in Albany.
Yes.
We've always called each other brothers. We've always been brothers to one another, but now we're inseparable at this point. So those three people, I'd have to say, it was the best thing to come out of this year is the strength of the relationships that I have with those three people.
So at this point, Vic, we play a little game where I'm going to give you some clues and have you guess who might be featured on Monday's 20 Things You Don't Know About Me. So viewers and listeners can take a guess by tweeting me at Just Kristi, tweeting at Times Union, or commenting on this video on the Times Union's YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Now, this guy, I chose him because he's great, but also because I feel like he might be your spirit animal. And when I read you these three clues, I feel like you're going to think I'm talking about you. So you've got to guess, try to guess who he is, all right? Number one is, in my carefree 20s, I went to a bachelor party in New Orleans. I woke up in Baton Rouge, 90 miles away, with no recollection. I really hope my mom isn't reading this. Okay, that's number one. Number two is, I come from a really big Italian family. We still do Sunday dinners often, and usually it's close to 20 of us for dinner. And here's your third clue, and this might be the tell. I closed a 43-year-old family restaurant in Albany during COVID and launched a condiment company.
Oh, that's the hot, spicy oil guy.
Crispy oil, yes. Do you know his name?
Oh, no, but if he's watching, I want to carry your product. Send me 2 cases and send me an invoice.
I think you two would be, I see you two together. You seem very similar.
All right, we're going to do business. Thank you for reminding me that I want to do business with this guy. And he sent me his product, and I love it. I love it. It's fantastic.
It's awesome. Yes, I've had it too. And he's also great on social media. He's great at marketing. He's a good business person. And I think you two would connect well.
Well, you brought us together. It's a done deal. We're carrying your product at the grocery in Troy. I know you're watching. Send me 2 cases immediately.
All right. Thank you, Vic. Thanks for joining us. This was fun. Bye.
Thank you.